In this video, I'm going to share with you how to go about the drafting of this off-shoulder panel side guarded dress. You are welcome to Olives. My name is Olivia. Do keep on watching and let's get right into this video. Here is the front pattern. I've drafted just the beginning, and here is also the back pattern. So this is the basic bodice starting from the shoulder down to the waist, which is 16. Okay, so we are going to continue by marking shoulder to hip and then the full length of your dress. Okay, we have drafted basic bodies severally, so which is why I have omitted this side. Okay, but this is my chest, my bust point, underbust, and waist. Okay, moving on to the waistline, I'm going to divide the waist measurement into 4, and which is 7. The waist is 28. Okay, then I added 1.5 inch total depth. Okay, I marked half of my nipple to nipple measurement and then went ahead to mark 3/4 inch on both sides, which gives me 1.5 inch total depth. Okay, so that is what I use instead of the usual 1 inch depth. On the hip line, I'll mark quarter of the hip, which is 10.5. The total hip is 42. I'll move down to the hem of the dress and mark the same. Connect the hip to the waist and also connect the waist down to the hem of the dress. Okay, now away from the hem, I'll go ahead and mark 1.5 inch. All right, and connect that 1.5 inch into the hip, so that is giving us like an A line dress, right? Okay, so I'm going to extend that 3.5 inches, which is my nipple to nipple measurement, on my hip as well as the hem of the dress and connect those points into a line. Okay, from the waist down, we'll mark the depth of our dart, which is usually 4.5 or 4. Okay, but this is like a panel dress, so I'm going to connect the dart legs straight into the hip. Okay, so this is how it looks like. The next thing is to mark down from the waist 3.5 inches. Okay, that's to work on our gathers or pleat. So I'll mark 3.5 inches. I'll grab my curve, and on that 3.5 inches I'll go in by 1 inch and connect from that line, blend it into my hip. So this is my first curve, and then I went ahead to reblend it again. Okay, and then I like the second curve, so I'm going to maintain the second curve. Okay, all right, so you can also mark like 1 inch, 1.5 inch, or up to 2 inches if you want your gardens to look higher. Okay, or if you want your shape to be higher. Okay, so if you want that, then you do same just like you see. Okay, so I'm going to maintain mine, and so I will outline with my marker and also connect into that straight line. Okay, yeah, so that's how easy it is. Now I'll go ahead and also re-outline my side, because this way we are already done with the side effect. Just going to wait and slash and spread that part. Okay, next we'll move to the upper part of our dress, which is the shoulder to waist. Okay, then we'll determine how we want our off shoulder to look like, the depth of the off shoulder. So I'll be using 6 inches. From the shoulder I'll mark 6 inches. Okay, and after that I'll go ahead and put those points into a straight line. So that is the beginning of our off shoulder. I'll measure my shoulder width and then divide the result into 2 equal parts this way, and I'm going to connect that point to meet my nipple to nipple or my bust band measurement right there. Okay, I'm going to use a total dart tightening at the top of 1.5 inch, so 3/4 inch on both sides of that center line, and then just connect from the nipple point to meet the dart point. Moving on to the underbust, I'm going to use a total underbust measurement of 29 inches. I'll then divide that into 4 equal parts, which is giving me 7.25. We are going to make sure that we have exactly 7.25 on our underbust. So how do we do that? First, however we measure, we are going to exclude this dart space. Okay, so from the center front, I'll mark whatever I have to the first dart leg and record that, exclude the other darts, and continue to the side and mark my 7.25. I'll move up here and measure whatever excess dart I have here and replace it on the chest line. Okay, then I'll connect that, it's about 1/2 inch, I'll connect that into my waist. Okay, so back to the underbust, whatever measurement I have from my 7.25 mark to the side, I'll record that. Mine is 1 inch. Okay, so on the underbust we are going to split that measurement. You can either mark 1/4 inch and mark 3/4 inch on your side, or you mark 1/2 inch on both sides. I'll maintain 1/4 inch from the center and towards the side 3/4 inch. So the next thing to do is to connect here the 1/4 inch up to the nipple point this way, and on the other side from the 3/4 inch I'll connect into the nipple to nipple measurement. I'll also redirect with my straight line to the top dart this way and also do same here. Same way I'll connect the 1/4 inch to the waistline and also the side, which is a 3/4 inch mark, to the waistline here as well. So now I'm going to close or try closing the top dart, okay, this way, and then you will see that there is a shortage, right? One line is longer than the other, so we are going to blend them so they will be on the same page. So I've corrected that. I'll go ahead and reconnect the point together. Here as well, I'm going to mark about 1/2 inch in and 3/4 inch down here, okay, this way, and also connect up here. You can also do like a sweetheart neckline, okay. So now down from the chest, I'll mark 1/2 inch and connect that 1/2 inch to my armhole. So basically we are almost done with the front pattern. So make sure you put your notches, underbust, waist, nipple. They will all help you when joining them together, okay. So I'll also mark my hip notches. Okay, the next thing is to divide the hem of my side assumed side gathers into 4, and I'm going to connect them together this way. Okay, I had about 1.5 inch, so I'm going to make sure that I divide them into almost an equal part. Okay, so my first line means that is where my first gathers or pleats is going to start from. Okay, all right, so we are going to name them 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So that is it. So the next thing is to move to the back. For the back as well, I started marking the basic bodies. The length, which is the shoulder to waist of the back, is 14.5 inches, while the front is 16. We'll work on that, okay? So instead of marking from the shoulder to waist, hip, and the length, it will not work. Okay, so on the front, whatever measurement we have from the waist to the hip, we will record that, and from the waist down to the hem of the dress as well, we will record that. Okay, so now that I've noted my records, I'll mark from the waist. I had 10 inches. Okay, that's the waist to hip, so I'm going to mark waist to hip and also waist to the length of the dress. Okay, so mine is 26 inches. So whatever we are going to do now is mark all of that and put them into a straight line. Okay, so that's how easy we are going to work on the back. So we have our shoulder, our chest, our waist, our hip, and then the length of the dress. Moving up, on the waist, we are going to mark half of our nipple to nipple or half of our bust pan. Okay, so mine is 3.5 inches, right? So I'll mark that on the waist as well as the chest line. I'll put that into a straight line and mark 1/2 inch of that on both sides. That's a total of 1 inch. All right, now on the center back I'll go in by 1/2 inch to tighten my back, and up down here I'll mark about 2.5 inches just to blend it into the top part of the back. Okay, the 2.5 inches is not constant. Having done that, then I'll connect that as well to the hip. Okay, so that is the center back, now the new center back. Now from that new center back on the waistline, we are going to input our waist measurement, which is 1 inch extra for the dart. Okay, so that is about 8 inches. I'll mark the 8 inches here, and whatever excess I have on the back here, which is about 1/4 inch, I'll replace it on my chest line. My bust measurement is already on my chest line, please remember that. So I'll connect into the waist. Okay, then here also I'll mark down from the shoulder 6 inches, which is going to be the depth of our off shoulder. Okay, yours might be 5.5, 5, or even 6.5. Okay, all right, so that is it. I'll reconnect the waist that to the top this way, just redirect it and try to also tighten the back with just about 1/4 inch. Okay, now we are done with the top. Let's go to the down. I've reconnected my back dart like we did for the front by using the nipple to nipple measurement. Okay, so I'm going to mark the same 3.5 inches here and also connect it like we did for the front. Okay, so just use your hip curve and connect into the hip. I also went ahead to determine how I want my back neckline to look like. Okay, so I use this diagonal shape, which is going to look like a V neckline on the back. Okay, so I went ahead to work on all of that and made my curve. I would also go ahead to divide my side shape into 5. I wish to say equal parts, but the side of the shape is not even as the others. This is how my back also looks like. Okay, so I also went ahead to close the top dart. There may be an even part. Okay, and then reconnected and corrected any shortage. So yeah, that is it for also the back. This is the side back, and here is also the center back. I'll go ahead to place all my notches on the waist, on the hip. I also determined where exactly my first pleat is going to be. Okay, we are going to pleat. All right, now the next thing is to measure from the waist to where the armhole begins on the back, and we are going to make sure that we have the same thing on the front. Okay, so what I did was to mark the difference, which is 1.5 inch. I marked from the nipple line down 1.5 inch, and then just connected all these points into a straight line to meet the nipple point, and that is going to be our underarm dart. Okay, so I'll go ahead and cut all my patterns out. And then after cutting the back, I went ahead to tape it down, and after taping the waist, you could see this bulge here, right? This is going to give us a zip bulge effect. So what we are going to do is divide or cut through the waistline and then just overlap it by about 1/2 inch. I'll grab my tape and just tape it down. So after closing, there is a little shortage at the center back. Okay, so what I'm going to do is to bring in a piece of paper and then tape it down this way, and then just use my curve to blend them together. Okay, so there will be no breakage. All right, so after blending that, I'm going to re-measure my waist measurement. Okay, whatever excess I have on the side, I'll connect it to my chest line and also close to my hip line just to take that excess off. Okay, so that is it. I also take off this excess on the side. and separate the back again. So this is our back piece. I'll cut out the guarded shape or our side shape for now, and I'm repeating the same thing to the front. Okay, I'll cut out all the parts that we don't need for the front. After cutting out, I'll leave out the side of the front and then close the dart. Okay, I'm going to fold this way and then just overlap them by closing, and then I'll tape it down, use my armhole curve and blend, take out this excess. And also there is a little shortage on the side, so I would also connect that to avoid that shortage. Okay, so yeah, that is it for the front. You just close your darts and take out the excess, and make sure that your front side and the back side meet. Okay, that's the aim. This is the end of the first part. In the next tutorial, we will cut and spread our side effect. We would also cut all our pieces out and so I will recommend you stay tuned, stay subscribed, and turn on your notification bell. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you in the next one.